between my ears. Everyone seems to be so clear, but I'm feeling foggy. I feel abandoned. Let's talk about it with Ronnie and Brandon. It's mental health awareness month. It's mental health awareness month. It's mental health awareness
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Judgement Seesaw. We're here for another mental health chat with some fantasy football tie-ins. And for today's episode, I've got a super special guest, Brandon Blanco. Brandon has been super eager to hop on. He's been one of the most vocal people on the back end, just reaching out immediately when I posted a shout out to see who wanted to come on and share some stories and have this type of discussion. So I appreciate you, Brandon. I'm excited to dive into this with you. But before I hand it over to you, a quick note for anyone watching, if this is your first time, the name of the show is the Judgement Seesaw, because it comes from a concept from economics that is used in therapy to help people learn how to actually engage and listen and understand people. And it comes to this idea where if you are judging, you cannot understand. And if you are being understanding, you're not going to be judgmental. And actually, if you want to try it yourself in your free time, try to be judgmental and understanding at the same time, and you will find that you can't. And so that is the Judgement Seesaw. It's about understanding, actively listening, and being a more in touch person with what is going on around you and the people around you in your life. And for me right now, I want to get in touch with Brandon Blanco. So tell us a little bit about you and fantasy football real quick, and give me a little taste of what you got going on, and then we'll dive into the mental health discussion.
First of all, shout out to you, because this is rare. I feel like everyone has to find their path in some type of industry, and I appreciate what you're doing because no one else is doing this in the industry at all, whether it's with AI or mental health. Mental health is very important, and people don't like talking about it until it's too late. But yeah, I'm Brandon Blanco. I write for Fantrax. I graduated from FIU with a communications major. I'm going back in August to UM for my master's in journalism. I also do Green Bay Packers content creation for Des Bryant's company and Luke Sawhook. Shout out to him. But yeah, that's just me, just literally living the day in fantasy. Big Star Wars fan, as you see my little stormtrooper up over there, bam, everywhere. Can't point.
Oh yeah, yeah. May the Fourth be with you. We're a little late.
My whole room it's Star Wars out. I even got my John Cena belt from when I was 12 still there.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, man, just looking forward to this. I appreciate you for having me on.
For sure. Are you still writing and contributing content over at Fantrax?
Yes, sir. Yes, just a little. It's a little slow now, obviously, with fantasy basketball being over and football being over too.
Sure. I wanted to make sure we shouted out them too. So with mental health, we're going to talk about a handful of different things. Not all of it is directly tied into fantasy football, but I want to start out with just a quick synopsis of you. Would you mind giving like a 1 or 2 minute backstory on just your general relationship with mental health? And then we'll start diving deeper into a couple different subjects.
So not going to drag it on, but I want to say first and foremost, my little brother suffers from Fragile X syndrome. I can't really give it into detail because I'm not understanding like fully about it, but boys have it because it's passed down from their mother, and then girls have it because it's passed down from their father.
It's fascinating.
My older brother, me, and my little brother all got tested for it. It's only my little brother. He was born in the autism spectrum, but it still somewhat hit me and my older brother, but we never had to go through the therapy that my little brother had to. But other than that, I suffer from crazy amounts of depression, crazy amounts of anxiety. It was on this bed right behind me that one day, I want to say maybe 2019, my mom came into my room just to come into my room to say something to me. I was behind my chair on that bed with a pillow over my head, and it literally felt like, I think it's episode 6 of Star Wars where Jabba throws Luke and Leia and Han Solo down below, and it's those walls closing in. That's how it felt in my head, to the point that like my mom was like, "What's wrong, Brandon?" And I was just crying, screaming. Like it wasn't even a headache. It just felt like the walls were closing in. And yeah, I've been on medication ever since then. I take it every morning. And it's amazing, but it's still a battle at the end of the day. No matter if you take medication or not, you still have to be kind to yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. That is something that I still learn and I'm still having trouble with, because I set these expectations for myself where it's like I'm trying to chase greatness, and it's like, and perfection, not greatness, perfection. And it's like, no one's perfect. LeBron's not perfect. Michael Jordan's not perfect. Like, we all have our flaws, and we have to understand that.
Right. I love that. I think that perfectionism is often the enemy of mental health and progress, and setting unrealistic expectations. Something a personal share from my end. A lot of this year has been like coming to terms with, I wouldn't call them the deficiencies I have, but the different set of cards that I was dealt compared to a lot of my peers and counterparts. Doesn't mean I don't have a lot of privilege to go along with my life. I definitely do, but I got some bad cards too. Some pretty fundamentally tough things to get over. And so recognizing that, not expecting yourself to be perfect every single time is really, really important. And I love that you shared that. Can you also share just a little bit on how your journey in fantasy sports has impacted your mental health? And then we'll go back into like the depression, anxiety, and maybe a little bit of the autism spectrum too.
I think it's for sure just how I am with Star Wars. If I had a bigger room, I'd probably have Harry Potter and Marvel around there. It's just being involved in fantasy in general, not just fantasy sports. But yeah, fantasy sports is just like that escape from reality. It's a game within a game. I don't know why people take it so seriously. Take it seriously. We're in money leagues and whatnot, bragging rights between family members and whatnot. But it's such a peaceful time playing fantasy football, whether it's researching players, writing content, whether it's in leagues, whether you're getting drunk with your friends in your live draft and you're talking smack. It's just a beautiful thing. It's a game within a game. Like I said, everyone can be wrong, even from the best analyst out there to an analyst that maybe has 500 followers. I don't dictate followers and all that in the fantasy space, because the person that has 500 followers can know as much as the person with 100,000 followers. I really don't try to look at numbers like that. There's a lot of people out there in the space that just like you can learn from every single day.
Yeah, a lot of them just self-plug, but we're having a lot of them on throughout the month on this show, like really good, genuine people that are really good at what they do, but also are down to sit down and connect and share with people on a more.
Those last two guys, Larky and Klug, are probably, it's kind of ironic that I came right after them, but those are two guys that I don't follow them on Twitter. I have this weird thing where it's people that I really look up to in the industry. I want to earn their follow. I've had that with a couple of people, but yeah, Larky and Kluge, bro, those guys are legends in the industry. I know people are going to be like, you're glazing this and that. No, like if you appreciate someone and their work, you should tell them. I've had plenty of talks with Larky. I bought his art coding course that I still have to do. But yeah, both of those guys are just like, when it comes to their craft, how they don't let things bother them. And at the end of the day, fantasy football, it's a big space, but it's a small space at the same time. I still see them on my timeline, and it's just always good vibes with all of them. They've come a long way. I was in fantasy space when Dave spoke about how he spoke to the police department about DeAndre Swift and this and that. And he's come a long way. And it's like, that's what it is. You have to look at yourself and what you've done in your life and, make progress towards it. That's it.
Yes. It's been, you and I both, it seems like, have a similar backstory in the industry where we've been around for a little while, but for me, it's been a lot of observing. And it's been cool to see some of these guys grow and mature and become like these immaculate kind of, well, not immaculate, no one's immaculate, but really powerful and genuinely good members of the industry. Speaking of the industry, it's a pretty demanding space, and Josh and Dave both actually talked a lot about the toxicity online, the negativity. You alluded to the fact that there's failure built into creating fantasy content. You're never going to be 100% correct on everything. So what challenges do you find yourself facing in like keeping up with the constant demand for updated and accurate content? And is there a thread of that is good or bad for your mental health?
I think it's kind of like, I'm going to use a Marvel reference when Thanos said it needs to be in a perfect balance. I feel like sometimes we just go a little, me personally, like I said, I try to strive for perfection. So I feel like I constantly need to be putting out content. I constantly need to be on Twitter trying to find the next tweet and spew this information out into people. And I've learned that's not the way to go. You need a balance. I personally feel like if I'm on social media and my brain starts, doing my brain activities and I'm getting like overwhelmed on social media, whether it's with like tweets or anything like that, I just get off. I turn on my PlayStation 5, I'm on Warzone or Fortnite. I know I ran it with you once. I got to run it again. I'm so obsessed with Warzone. But
Shout
yeah,
out to the Fantasy Fortnite group. We have
for
a crew
sure.
of
But
30
yeah, it's just
people.
life is about balance. And when it comes to fantasy football, I try not to, when it comes to in season, of course, I'm all full throttle, but throughout the off season, I like to step back and just analyze things, especially when it comes to the NFL draft and whatnot. I'm not no expert. I'm still learning the game of football. I came from the basketball world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to like not stop trying to chase perfection because it's never going to get there, and just find that balance when it comes to fantasy football and just the content and not looking at the numbers so much.
I love that. Again, you keep on going back to this idea of like chasing greatness, chasing perfection, like the ultimate, like I want to hit 100%. I got to score an A plus, so on and so forth. It's unattainable, and we can't treat ourselves that way. And one thing that my therapist has shared with me a lot over the last couple of years that I can't remember the name of right now, but there's a table for helping to set expectations. And basically the way it works is like if you just kind of ignore the 90% and above, 80% and above result, you want to make sure you avoid like failing, which is like 20% good enough. It's the good enough table.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you're falling in between like 80% good enough to like 40% good enough, what you'll find is that everyone else agrees it was good enough. It's fine. Let's look for the next thing. So when you sit there and you have to like, I want to get over 80%, I want to really have something perfect, that leads to so much pressure, which can turn into reluctance to actually follow through. And it's really toxic. So I love that you keep bringing that up. And I think it's something that a lot of the people in the industry do struggle with.
I've learned to just, and at the end of the day, just let go. Let go, be yourself. I'm 29 years old. I post videos on TikTok. People are calling me Unk. Like, it's just funny. It's just like, you just have to be yourself, and your content is going to speak for yourself. And the one thing I have learned in the past couple of months is the people that rock with you, whether just as a person or the work you put out, they're going to rock with you. You don't need to spam the timeline or spam their DMs and send them this or send this or be in a retweet chat, even though I have been, and that's no discredit to anyone that is in one. It's a way to grow and connect. I just got out of it with a whole nother story, but yeah, just like that, man.
Well, actually, that's a good small segue. It's something that could relate with each other a bit potentially, but retweet groups, there's so much pressure to like engage with other people's content. And I know
like
Josh Larkey, one of my favorite people in it, I don't want to tweet everything he puts out. It's not always relevant to what I want to have on my timeline.
It was the type of thing that it felt like, and like, once again, I was in it for like over a year. Shout out to the person who ran it. I'm not going to put his name out there and stuff like that. Shout out to him. But it just got to the point where it was like a full-time job. Like, if I'm on Twitter, I have to be tweeting stuff. And it's like 99% of the time you're retweeting 12 to 15 different people. And it's the same type of work, whether it's sleepers at the running back position and this and that. And it's like, at that point, it feels like spam. So it's like, I just learned, I got out of it because of something else. But as of now, I feel so free. Like, I go on Twitter when I want. I tweet what I want. I talk how I want. It really, like, I'm just me. And I've just learned to like let go and not take social media that serious. I kind of try to look at the guys that are where I want to be at the end of the day. Look at the guys that are full-time either in fantasy football or the sports industry in general, and see how they operate. Not try to like copy them, but just like see how they operate. They're not taking social media seriously, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. They're just themselves. And like I said, the people that are going to rock with you, they're going to rock with you at the end of the day.
Well, I love that. And it can be almost like it can burn you out, just like sitting there and having to retweet 15 times a day. It can be redundant, so on and so forth. But it also, a personal share from my end, it made me feel really bad because I just wouldn't. And I've tried retweet groups off and on throughout the last decade. And every time I get in one, I do like a mental gauge on other people and then what I'm doing. And I realize it's like I'm mostly just posting my stuff in that group and then occasionally retweeting. Mm-hmm. And I feel terrible about it. So I end up just leaving. Yeah. And I'm not in any right now. I don't know if I'll ever join one again. But speaking of burnout, have you ever experienced burnout so far in your career in the industry? And like, if you have, can you share some strategies that you found effective in dealing with it?
So the burnouts, I want to say the burnouts always happen by like week, like 8 or 9. When I wrote for IDP guys, I was doing their starts and sits and their sleepers and streamers for just overall positions. Then when I left IDP, guys, and I went to Fantrax, I was still doing starts and sits, and I was doing sleepers and streamers for wide receivers. But it's kind of like once you get to the point in that fantasy season where you know what guys are good, what guys are just checked out for the year, it's kind of hard to find those sleepers and those streamers. I remember I got roasted 2 years ago because I had, what's his name? I had PJ Walker as a sleeper for the quarterback position. The guy from he was playing it's because there were so many guys on buys, and it's like, I'm not going to make one of these guys a sleeper when you know they're not a sleeper. So I put PJ Walker. He dropped like 5 fantasy points. It was just the worst thing in the world. And it's just like that burnout happens. But I just tell myself, like, just push through it. Literally just push through it. And then that's when I take my break. I'm more of a redraft guy. I'm still learning from Dynasty IM and FF Bird Gang. There's so many people on Twitter that when it comes to Dynasty football, they just understand it like the back of their hand. And I gravitate towards those people, and I try to like see what they're doing and see how they're operating. But when it comes to redraft, that's my thing. So that's why redraft season, I go hard for those 4 or 5 months. And then after that, I kind of step back. I relax. For fantasy basketball, I'll do like an article a week. But it's just like, you just got to push through. At the end of the day, you really have to just push through because you can't stop. People are relying on you, whether it's people that are reading your articles or the company that you're writing for. And once that's over, this one guy I used to work with, Coach Steve is his Twitter name. He just like, bro, take a break. He told me after redraft season, he takes like a 2-3 month break and then he starts up again. And I've learned that I need to do that. And back then I used to like not want to do it because, like I said, I think I need to be constantly loading a TikTok or a video or an article or this, or I need to. If not, I'm not going to be relevant, this and that. And it's just like I've learned to like, bro, relax. What's meant to be will be. People are going to rock with you regardless. Be yourself, and people are going to understand that you're being yourself and you're not trying to copyright someone.
People are gonna rock with you regardless. I love that.
That's the quote of the day for me right there. People really, they really are. Like at the end of the day, like people are gonna rock with you, and if they don't, they don't. Freaking 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah. Well, especially the fantasy industry itself is a unique community. It's a unique industry, and if you're genuine and you're good to other people, people will rock with you. I'm gonna start saying that now. I love it. Going back to like burnout is it can be a low point. It affects anyone that's doing consistent content creation. And I know that I just want to side note, this is mental health podcast episode, but I think this is everything that we decided to talk about has to do with a lot of like career management things, which tie directly back into mental health. So we might do a couple more mental health focused questions at the end, but highs and lows wise, and for you with your depression and your anxiety, it's same exact chronic issues that I have. How do you balance like the highs and lows of your personal life and the highs and lows also of fantasy sports analysis, especially like as you just alluded to a couple times, like when things don't go as planned?
I want to say just in general, it might sound kind of cliche and corny. I go to the gym. The gym is literally the best thing in the world. It doesn't look like I go to the gym. I've seen the difference, but it's just like the gym is such an amazing like dopamine feeling. Like it's just amazing, like lifting weights. And especially once you start seeing the progress at the end of the day, that first month or two, people quit because they don't see the progress, whether they're trying to lose weight, whether they're trying to tone up their muscle or whatnot. But if you keep on going, just like you do with anything in life, you start seeing that progress, you start feeling good about yourself. And that's the one thing that I found. The gym, I try to go 5 days a week, sometimes 6. At first, there was 1 week that I went 7 days a week, and I was like, okay, let me chill because at the end of the day, my muscles are not going to grow like that. But yeah, I go 5 days a week. I try to spread it out. Some days I'm too sore and I'll skip a day and then just recover it later on in the week. But yeah, the gym, when it comes to just fantasy football or just life in general, for me, when I'm feeling down, I hit the gym. I read books. I'm reading this book right now. Amazing book. Everyone should go read it.
I've heard of this. I have not read it.
One of the most amazing books. After I finish this book, I already have this book locked and loaded. Stop Overthinking. Amazing. I haven't read it yet, but I ordered it. But yeah, this book is just amazing. It really helps. Reading helps. Exercises for the brain help. A lot of people don't realize it. A lot of people stop reading after high school, which I don't understand. Reading is fun. I guess me being the type of like person always in the fantasy life world, I love reading because I'm able to like picture stuff in my head and whatnot. But yeah, this book right here, I recommend this for everyone. It says it in the title. We care too much. And it's just like, it's not, life is too important to care about the little minimal things that bother us. because that's most of the time what is bothering us. It's always small things that we create in our head.
Yeah,
Our
definitely.
minds are powerful. People don't realize it. We are very powerful people, animals,
That's
if you want to call it.
right, right. Well, and especially with the way that we can affect our own psyche just by investing a ton of energy in different things, it has a physiological effect. I'm a big fan of rumination and like keeping an eye on the concept of rumination. And my understanding is that rumination it's like when you're reliving or remembering through a traumatic or bad event. And the science behind it is that you literally physiologically experience the same effects of that event when you're ruminating on it. So it's important. Like our brains are really powerful. And that's why mental health is so important. Mental health matters. And for you, like what role do you think mental health plays in the performance and enjoyment of not just you, but fantasy sports participants in general?
Repeat that question for me one more time.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at like the fantasy sports industry and the people, the millions and millions of people that play, what role do you think mental health plays in like their performance and enjoyment of the activity?
I think it's what I went back and said. Like, it's an escape from reality. A lot of people do
Yeah.
things to escape from reality. Whether it doesn't matter whether it's as bad as it sounds. I'm an avid weed smoker. I am trying to stop. It is hard. It's also because I smoke with tobacco. I'm not afraid to admit it. It is very hard. It's something that I
Little
want to stop.
spliff action.
I want to be on TV. I want to be on camera. No networks that hire someone like that. And it's hard, but that's something to escape reality. I've gotten better with it. I don't touch it until at night. I go to my friend's house. We watch basketball. We watch football, this and that. We're chilling. I get all my stuff done throughout the day. But still, it's something in my brain when I do it that I'm like, I'm kind of bored of it. So that's how I know I need to stop. But in general, it's just an escape from reality, no matter what, whether we're playing fantasy football, whether we're golfing, whether we go play basketball, we're escaping from our bills, the stress we have in our head. We just let go. When I'm on the basketball court, I'm not thinking about anything except that I'm on the Knicks and we're going to go win the championship. That's how I look at it. You get me? Like, we're just, it's different escapes from reality. In fantasy football, like sometimes I'll randomly go through my sleeper app and just look at my teams and just like, damn, this is a good ass team. Like, oh my God. And it brings me joy. I'm like, yo, can the season start right now? Especially last year. I had so many injuries, whether it was with Anthony Richardson, Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams, and Marvin Harrison were ready to go. Locked and loaded, ready to go. But yeah, it's just an escape from reality, especially with fantasy football. I feel like you see a lot of us are not full-time in the industry, whether it's a hobby or it's a passion that we want to turn into a career. It really is an escape from reality, whether we're on Twitter talking to people. Sometimes I talk to people about random things, whether I talk to Zach Attack about the gym, whether I talk to Jagger about music. It's an escape from reality, and you just have to learn the balance of it. And the goods and the bads. There's obviously bad apples in this industry, but I stay away from them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't need to associate with them. I just see them on Twitter and it's like, dang, like those type of people, like I pray for you because I know you're going through something. You don't have to be a miserable jackass every single day to people on Twitter. There's something obviously bothering you in here, and I hope you get help. And if you want to talk to me, I'm always willing to talk.
I love that. It's true. One, it goes back to like the Judgement Seesaw, what you just displayed right there. You can judge somebody. Maybe they're not acting the right way, but what you just did is you put yourself in a mode of understanding. Like they've obviously got something going on. If you need help, reach out, so on and so forth. I think if we all could get into that mode a little bit more often, a lot of the drama and the antagonism and so on and so forth would begin to dissipate. Let's do one more just thing related to fantasy, and then I got one or two things to tie back to the beginning of the episode. But what advice would you give someone in the fantasy sports industry who is struggling with mental health issues?
Number one, go to the gym. 100% go to the gym. It's going to help you out. Talk to someone. Whether you're going to talk to your friends. If you don't talk to your friends, talk to your parents. If they're not helping you, go to therapy. Stop looking. I feel like a lot of people don't want to go to therapy or go somewhere because it's going to cost money. But at the end of the day, when it comes to my mental health or physical health, there's no price. There really is no price, and there shouldn't be a price because you're only Ronnie Evans once. You're only Brandon Blanco once. That's it. Whatever you believe happens in reincarnation or whatnot, it happens. But you are only this person once. Talk. Open it up. I think this was an article that I just researched before we came on. It was dated back, I think last year, May, the article came out. Men commit suicide 3.9 times more than women. Why? Because we want to be macho man. We can't talk to our friends. We can't do this. We can't do that. And then bang, you're not there. And then your mother's crying for the rest of her life. Like, learn to talk. And like I said, I'm not no big person in this industry, but I am willing to listen to anybody. I went to school for communications. I will talk to you. I will listen to all your problems and give you advice. I might be blunt about it, but I'm going to let you know what you need to hear and how to just be better. And I think that's my philosophy in life. And that's why I get a lot of the serving jobs I do. My last serving job, which I'm at right now, and I don't plan on leaving until I'm done with school. My philosophy in life is everybody on this earth is here to help someone. Think about any job occupation in the world. You are here to help someone. Whether you're an accountant running someone's money, whether if you want me to be a jokester, whether you're a drug dealer selling someone drugs, you're helping them, whether they want to get their high or whatnot, whether you're a teacher, a firefighter, a server, a basketball player, you're helping your team when you're entertaining others. These WW athletes are entertainers. Everybody's occupation on this earth is to help each other. And like I said it right here, all you need is love. You really do. I'm not talking about love someone like you love your mother, but just be kind to someone. Just be nice, because you don't know what they're going through. And if they are going through something bad, that might be you the next day, and you don't know that.
I love that. Well, and everything you said goes back to the core of like take action, open up, share, and get started. But you can't do this yourself. If you're dealing with mental health issues, you have to open up to other people. Dave Kluge, Josh Larkey, Nick Whalen, the guy who I had the first episode with, all of them, same advice. And so when this entire series is done, I'll probably put a compilation that answers this question, because I keep asking everyone the same one to close out things. And it's ironic. It seems to be a pretty common trend. It's like the most obvious possible answer, but you could attest to it, as could I, and anyone else that's dealt with mental health issues. Just because it's obvious and it makes sense does not mean it's easy to do. If you're depressed and you're glued to the ground and you can't get energy to do simple things like pick up trash off the floor, brush your teeth, the obvious becomes often, and the simple can become monumental in your head. Just let it go and just reach
That
out
brain
to
of yours.
someone.
Sometimes I honestly tell myself to shut up in my head, because my mind can really be my biggest enemy. And just like that for anyone. And sometimes you really got to just sit back, relax, and just let go. Like those problems, that's what I've realized in my life in the past 6 months. All of these problems that are in my head, it's because I'm creating them. It's literally the problems that I'm creating in my head. And all you need to do is just like let go, enjoy what's in front of you, write down what's bothering you, cross out the things you cannot control, the things you can control, attack it. And that's it. You just got to keep on going, keep on being positive, and be kind at the end of the day.
I love it. And to go back, reach out. If you're down, if you're feeling like something's not right, the best thing you can do is reach out. The worst thing you can do is keep it to yourself.
Reach out, especially with the 2024 social media. You'd be surprised. It wouldn't be your parents that are giving you that advice. It'll be the random person you follow on Twitter, and you've never spoken to them, but they gave you the best advice in the world. And now you're still here, and you're still giving life another shot because of this person that you follow on Twitter or X or however Elon wants us to call it.
Hey, speaking of, you just gave me a great reminder. Been plugging this every episode. That man right there. And where is he? Over here. Toronto Dave.
I've seen him a lot on Twitter. Shout out to him.
He's the man. He's the man. Toronto's got his own story. I won't share it without him here, but he helps run and started the Less Alone group chat, which is for the fantasy football community and industry. And if you're watching this right now, feel like you are dealing with mental health struggles or just need a caring and private group that won't judge you and is there to listen and talk about anything, let us know. Let me know. I'll just shoot me a DM on Twitter. It's at Ronnie A. Evans. I'll add you to that group. And I will say that it's been a lifeline for me the past year. I have shared stuff in there that I would not share publicly. And I frankly get uncomfortable at sharing in there sometimes. But every time I do, I feel better afterwards.
That's good.
So last question, just to tie back to the beginning. I know you didn't want to speak for your brother or anything on his behalf, but talking about you and growing up with and living with someone that deals with a struggle like he does.
Yeah.
How has that affected you? And could you give anyone advice who might be running into or beginning to realize that they're dealing with something similar with their friends or family members?
I would say shout out to my parents. They caught it in the window. So when it comes to Fragile X syndrome, there's like a window where the parents have to catch it. If they don't, that it's kind of like the window closes and that kid is in the spectrum for the rest of their life. It was hell. Like my little brother would sit on his high chair. You'd be like, "Yo, Ryan," he's zoned out watching TV. Numerous of times he takes a crap and he doesn't know any better. He was eating them. You get me like that. It was hard for my parents, like because at the end of the day, parents don't want to sit back and realize, yo, maybe there is something wrong with my kid. Because then then you start thinking, dang, did I do this? You start feeling guilty, whatnot. But yeah, shout out to my parents. It was over 5 years of going to the Dan Marino Center of this lady. Shout out to her name Anya. She would come here and give my brother therapy over and over again. I remember I saw her at my like previous job, and I showed her a picture of Ryan and whatnot, and she's just crying because she remembers all the hard times. And now my brother just turned 16. He's 6'3", a giant. I wish he played sports. He doesn't play sports. I wish I got his height, but 16 years old, and this is one of the smartest, if not the smartest person I've ever met in my life. And I'm not just saying that because he's my brother. The kid will talk to me, and I'm like, bro, why are you talking? Like, I wasn't talking like this when I was 16. Like, when did you learn that SAT word? Because I still don't know that SAT word. How the hell did you know that SAT word? But yeah, shout out to my little big brother. The kid is like 6'3", 6'4". He's a giant. He's still growing. He's a genius. He's an artist. When he was like in 4th grade, his picture got the cover of the yearbook in his elementary school.
That's amazing.
And studying. He's in his room right now studying for an AP test. I never did an AP class in my life. Freaking got to geometry my senior year of high school. I'm more of on the English side of things. But yeah, shout out to my little brother. That kid is one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, and just one of the most kind-hearted, down-to-earth people. And you could tell, like you look at him and it's like, oh, this kid is so big. He must be like 21. And then my parents will be like, yeah, he just turned 16. It's like, what? But he's just like, bro, he's like a little marshmallow. He's just the most kind person ever. Just in his room, does his schoolwork, plays Minecraft, Overwatch, all this stuff, plays Fortnite, just living his life as a teenager.
All right. I have a task for you.
Yes, sir.
When we get off of this episode, I want you to, before you leave to go to the birthday party that you're heading to, I want you to go into his room and tell him that you just sat down and talked with Ronnie Evans, or don't name me by name, but talked with someone else who cares. Mm-hmm. And tell him that I said that he sounds like, excuse my language, but a fucking stud.
No, kid's a giant, bro. Kids literally, I always say it, I'm like, it's already happened in high school where the football coaches come up to him and be like, yo, you play football? And he's like, nah, you know how it is. I'm like, if Nick Saban saw him and he was still coaching, he's like, you're getting a Camaro and a full ride to Bama.
Right. Well, and when I say a stud, I don't even just mean physically. Like, he's been through a lot.
Yeah, no.
And you're alluding to the fact that he got through all of that and he's thriving now. So there's not really another type of person out there that I can be more proud of. And I'd echo said the same thing for you and your struggles. And I try to tell myself this sort of thing too. But for those of us, for people who are watching, if you're struggling, reach out. And when you go on that road of recovery, it's not quick and it's not easy, but it's worth it. And it is in the end, when you get through it, you'll have accomplished something that is harder than pretty much anything anyone else has ever dealt with.
Nothing worth having comes easy. And
yes,
it's just the truth. Nothing worth having comes easy. And yeah, my little brother's an inspiration. Like, look what he's going through. Like, so what I'm going through is nothing what he went through as a little kid, as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, going to elementary school and then getting home and having to go straight to Weston for Dan Marino Center, or waiting for Anya to come home and go through an hour of therapy and the tantrums and this and that. God is good. Life is good. And yeah, just take care of each other. Take care of your mental. If you need to talk, I am here. Anybody's here. Reach out. Have your conversations. Conversations keeps the world going.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the whole point of the Judgment Seesaw, man. Thank you for coming on. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with that. I love it. Life is good. Reach out,
brother.
Reach out, share, and have these.
Shout out to Ronnie Evans. Clap it up. Give him his flowers. Nobody's doing this in the industry right now. Shout out to you, man.
Hey, let me correct you, though. In a few months, FF Face Off is doing the Podathon, and last year during May, Fantasy and Frames had a few episodes of the mental health show. So I'm not on an island on this, but it is. I will say yes. It is it's not a popular or common conversation to have. So I appreciate
it's the uncomfortability that people don't want to have, and it's like, bro, at the end of the day, I'd rather have that conversation than you not here no more. I think
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
something.
Absolutely. Well, let's move just away from like the worst possible outcome. Rather have this conversation than just feel down tomorrow. It's
Mhm.
just better to share. It's better to talk. Be open. Love yourself. Love the industry. The fantasy community is special. Brandon Blanco is special. You can find him on Twitter at Brandon Blanco FF. It's literally right in front of you on the screen. Take a second, pause the video, and go give him a follow. And I'll be back tomorrow with
His love.
Trash Sandwiches, who's like one of the funniest and greatest human beings in the entire fantasy industry, just like you, Brandon. So we'll be on in the morning tomorrow for that one. And in the meantime, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and love yourself.
What's going on between my ears? Everyone seems to be so clear, but I'm feeling foggy. I feel abandoned. Let's talk about it with Ronnie and Brandon. It's mental health.